Hi everyone, I'm Jamie Trull. I'm a CPA, a financial literacy coach, and a profit strategist. And we're doing something a little bit different today. We are starting something we've never done. We're doing a limited series. Well, what the heck is a limited series? Well, we're going to be talking about basically the same topic throughout the entire month. So we're recording this in March of 2022. So we are going to be releasing a video every Tuesday this March that relates to one specific topic and dives deeper into one specific topic. What is that topic, you ask? It's about being more profitable in your business. So whether you are a freelancer or maybe you have a small business with, 10 employees, right? Probably something on your mind at all times is, how do I make my business more profitable? Why do we care about that? Well, that means that we can pay ourselves more in our business. So first and foremost, let's all agree profit is good. I know that sometimes profit means more taxes, but I will tell you, I'd rather that than you guys try to minimize your profit. So let's all agree we want more profit. Yes, we want to prepare for taxes. Yes, we want to get all our tax deductions, but I want you to be profitable because being profitable means you can pay yourself more. And there are various different ways, various different things that are going to be important that are going to help your business become more profitable. And these are all things that really are rooted within finance. So I'm not talking about new marketing campaigns here. That's not really what we're going to get into. We're going to be talking about managing the finances within your business in order to be more profitable. And the very first thing that I want everyone to do, if you have not already, is take the quiz. So the quiz I'm talking about is, what is your next step to being more profitable in your business? You can find it at jamietrull.com/profit quiz. Why do I want you to take this quiz? I want you to take this quiz because it is going to give you your personalized next step. Right? There are lots of different things that we could be focusing on with our finances, but I want to know what your biggest pain points are and what the first thing that you need to be focused on so that you can start making real traction in your business. Because there are so many things sometimes and it gets really distracting. And if we try to focus on all of them, we're not going to make any progress at all. So I want you to take the quiz and then I want you to know what that next step is. You can still watch all of these videos. Each video I'm going to do is going to dive deeper into one of those solutions. So you can still get value out of all of these different videos. But I want you to pay particular attention to the video that really speaks to your specific outcome that we have recommended, the thing that we recommend be your personalized next step. So go pull up the quiz, get started on that. I'm going to start talking about the very first thing, our number one thing to do in this series. This is the first part of our series, and this is all about focusing on fundamentals. So if you got the quiz result, focus on fundamentals, that means there's some base work to be done before we jump into the strategy side. Before we start making any strategic financial changes, let's really focus on making sure that we have the basics figured out. Ultimately, you want to be able to be empowered with the education that you need to understand those financials, at least at a base level, right? I'm not talking about all of the ins and outs or anything like that, but at a base level, you want to have processes in place that are going to help you to be able to really understand your finances, and you want to have that base knowledge that's going to give you that confidence. Because without that, it's going to be hard to go any more strategic or put any other things in place. So I'm going to go over those things. What do I consider to be the fundamentals? What things do you want to cross off your list if you received that as your next step? And then you'll be able to move on to perhaps some of the more strategic things you can do within your finances to make more profit. So here are the 5 things that I recommend to focus on fundamentals. Number 1, you want to know your entity type and know that you are the correct entity type. Okay, that's really important. A lot of people don't necessarily know what they are, right? Are they a sole proprietor? Are they an LLC? Are they an S Corp? Which one should they be? What are the differences? You want to know that. And that's not something that you want to outsource that decision to someone else. We're going to talk a little bit about that in the future. And that's not something that you want to outsource that decision fully to someone else. You want to be empowered to know the differences and know what makes sense for you. Okay, so make sure that you know your entity type and that you know that you are the correct entity type and what those differences really are, and making sure that you're actually doing what you're supposed to be doing for your entity type. This is especially true if you are an S Corp, if you are a C Corp, but even for my LLCs, there are some specific requirements that you need to make sure that you're meeting so that you don't basically lose whatever protection that you get or lose the tax benefit that you get or potentially open yourself up to audit, right? You want to make sure that you're aware of what all all of those rules are yourself. Number 2, I want to make sure that you are separating your business and personal. And I don't mean mostly. Outside of things like maybe the personal use of your cell phone bill or your home office, those are things that are handled a little bit differently. But the vast majority of expenses for your business need to be running through a business bank account, and everything else needs to be going through your personal bank account, right? We need to make sure that there is full-on separation, especially if you are an LLC or a corporation that is required to maintain that legal protection, okay? You don't want to be what's called commingling funds. It's also sometimes called piercing the corporate veil. Really, really important to set those things up separately and to actually start to view them separately in your mind. I know sometimes when we start a business, especially when you are freelancing or maybe a very small business, it tends to get all muddied up together in our heads, but we do not want it to be like that. We need to totally treat our business separate from us as a human being, as a person. Okay? So make sure that you're doing those things to keep everything fully separated. Number 3, I want you to have a bookkeeping system. Now, that system may be hiring a bookkeeper, but you may not be quite there yet. Maybe you're trying to save a little bit of money in the interim, but you still need to be tracking your income and expenses. And you need to be tracking it not just for tax purposes, right? Of course, we know we need to do that. We want to get those tax deductions, right? We don't want to pay more taxes than we need to. But the first and foremost reason that you really want to have a system for tracking your numbers is so that it can help you make decisions. So you can see why, if you haven't yet kind of got that process in place, it's going to be hard to go to anything more strategic with regards to your finances, right? To get more strategic in trying to get more profit. First things first, you have to have the data you need in order to be able to make those strategic decisions. And you need to be able to understand that data. So what I mean by that is you need to have a way of putting together a profit and loss, whether that is an accounting software that you're using and routinely keeping updated. That's the key, right? Routinely keeping updated, not once every 6 months getting in there, routinely getting in there and keeping it updated, whether you are doing it yourself or someone else is. Or even if you have a spreadsheet, and I do recommend having more than just a laundry list spreadsheet, but a spreadsheet that can actually help you create a profit and loss report, right? That's your income and your expenses from your business. You want to make sure that you have that process dialed in so that you have that information readily available to you, because it is very important information and you need to understand how to read it too. What does it actually mean? And how does what shows up on your P&L actually need to impact the decisions you're making in your business, right? The things that you are purchasing, perhaps, the prices that you are charging, right? How many things you need to sell in order to be profitable. You need to have access to that information in order to make those decisions. So that is super key, making sure that you have a bookkeeping system in place that you are regularly keeping up with. The fourth thing, which I touched on, but comes on the heels of that, is understanding those reports, right? Understanding those reports that are coming out of that bookkeeping, understanding what that P&L actually means, and being able to use it within your business. So number 3 and number 4 really go hand in hand together. You have to have the system so that you can have the reports and really understand them and have that education about what they really mean. And number 5, last but certainly not least, you need to know what taxes you are responsible for paying, how those taxes are generally calculated, not necessarily every little detail about it, but generally, and then a plan for saving for them. So oftentimes taxes are the thing that when we first get into business, or even after we've been in business for a little while, it still feels overwhelming. There are so many taxes. We've got income tax, we've got self-employment tax, right? We've got maybe franchise taxes in your state, maybe there's state income tax, maybe there's sales tax. What the heck is use tax? You want to know what the difference is between all these different types of taxes and which ones are you responsible for paying, right? That is super important so that you don't get into trouble with Uncle Sam, so that nobody comes after you, and so that you don't have these surprises that come up because maybe you didn't do something the right way the first time around. So that's why I really focus on your fundamentals being the first step. So if you don't feel like you have those dialed in, don't worry. Don't have any shame about it. That is very, very normal. A lot of the people that come into my sphere and start following me, that's usually where they are in their business journey. Sometimes they just started their business, and sometimes they've been in business for a long time. And maybe you even outsourced a lot of this to an accountant or a bookkeeper. But I want to tell you, it is so important for you the business owner, to have an understanding of this stuff. Number one, it helps you figure out whether or not the advice that you're getting and the information that's being told to you is correct, right? You have some frame of reference, because not that I don't trust accountants and bookkeepers, but you can get various different advice from various different people. And you need to be able to run that through your own knowledge and make sure that it makes sense, right? But also, no one else is going to care about your business as much as you do, right? Your bookkeeper doesn't care as much. Your accountant doesn't care as much. Your mom doesn't care as much. I mean, maybe she's a close second, but really, nobody else cares as much and knows as much about your business as you do. So you have the knowledge, right? You are the CEO making the CEO decisions in your business, but you also are playing the role of the CFO, making those financial decisions in your business. So you need to understand those basics, those fundamentals, so that it can aid you in making the best decisions to grow your business. And you are not outsourcing that to people who don't actually have a stake in your business at all and in the success of it. So again, if you haven't yet, I don't know why you haven't, but go take the quiz, jamietrull.com/profit quiz. If your recommended next result is focus on fundamentals, this is where I want you to start. I want to make sure that you have all of this dialed in before we move on to anything else. You can continue to watch the rest of the videos that are going to come out throughout the month, because those are going to be things that we will get to, but I want you to start here. And when you take that quiz and you get that result, you will also get some recommended resources on where to start in that journey. Okay? So I will see you back here this entire month of March. If you're watching this long after March of 2022, all of this is still applicable to you. You can go and binge on the full playlist now, because it all should be available. But if you're watching this in March, then just stay tuned. Make sure you've liked and subscribed so that you can get access immediately as we drop the rest of the videos within this series. I'll see you next time.